James Turner for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so we're getting another day here started in the beautiful Bay Area. Shout out to everybody out there in the world tuning in. Hope all is well in your life as you're watching this video. But listen, guys, we're gonna talk some Moses Itauma because he's a popular topic of discussion these days in boxing, and quite frankly, he's earned the right to be a popular topic of discussion in boxing these days. He's been very, very exciting, and he's ran through every opponent he's fought thus far in his career in sensational fashion. He's operating at a very, very high level that already finds him, you know, on the high end of the rankings in the heavyweight division, knocking on the door, on the precipice of greatness, and fighting for a heavyweight title probably by the age of, I think he's like, what, 21 or 22. So he's definitely really fun to watch right now, and he's definitely fun to talk about. But we got to speak about this, you know, because here on True School Sports, the home of boxing, we speak about everything in boxing, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So Moses has been propped up as like this British Mike Tyson. Everyone tells me that he would knock out Philip Hergovich and he would do this to that fighter and do this to that fighter, yet he hasn't even really been in a fight where he's been punched dead in his shit and really had to like fight back. He hasn't really fought anybody who came to fight him back. Everybody who's fought him, they got hit, they couldn't stand up to the power, and they made conscious decisions to, you know, not really fire back because the heat was too hot for them in that kitchen, right? So, I like Moses, and I do think highly of his ceiling in boxing, but I think I'm taking a more reserved approach. And even his teammates, I told you guys after the Dillian White fight, because a lot of you guys are saying, oh, he should fight Hergovich next, he should fight Joseph Parker, and I'm like, guys, that's unrealistic. He's not going to fight those guys. Moses himself admitted that his team wanted him to fight Jermaine Franklin next. And mind you, this was before Jermaine Franklin beat Ivan Ditchko in a very boring fight on the Terence Crawford-Canelo undercard. So when Moses said that, Jermaine Franklin's name wasn't moving in the headlines at all. He had nothing going on in his career. Let's just be real. So that was an indicator to me that even though he's operating at a very high level and the talent is there, and the speed is there, and the power is there, and the ferociousness is there, that they don't feel he's there yet because he has to develop some more before he's ready to fight on that level. So I say all that, and I say that to set the stage and tell you guys that Moses Itauma has sidestepped. He's swerved. He's avoided. He's turned down. And if you want to use the word duck, you're well within your rights to. He's turned down a IBF eliminator fight with Frank Sanchez. Yes, that Frank Sanchez. And, you know, they're going to go another route. So there's many ways to interpret this. But I, honestly, I'm going to interpret it the way that you should interpret it, which is the fact that, you know, Moses Itauma is being built up by Turki Al-Sheikh, Riyadh Season, and the powers that be in British boxing as like this next Mike Tyson heavyweight. And like, to me, from a managerial standpoint, because I look at boxing like that anyway. I mean, you know, so let me put my manager's hat on. I don't see why you turn that fight down, unless they've seen him in the gym with that type of sparring and that Cuban style. The only reason you turn down that type of opportunity is if you have maybe a bigger fight lined up, which I don't think they do. I think they're gonna fight a guy like Jermaine Franklin, especially with Franklin coming off of the Ivan Ditchko win. Now fighting Jermaine Franklin can actually be more justified because he's coming off of a career best win, you know, against a guy who was, you know, a highly touted heavyweight himself at one point in Ditchko. So I think that fight's gonna happen still. You know, Frank Sanchez isn't a world beater. He's a good little fighter. You know, we saw what happened when he fought Aji Cabello. Cabello was too big, too strong for him. And my thing is, okay, so the question I want to ask to the handlers of Moses Itauma, like your Ben Davisons, your Turki Al-Sheikhs, your Spencer Browns, just everyone that has a hand in his career, do y'all not think he's better than Aji Cabello? Like, because Cabello ran through Frank Sanchez. It wasn't even a hard fight for him. He beat the shit out of Frank Sanchez. Let's be real. And you guys don't feel confident enough in him to take the fight. Now, look, if you don't feel confident enough, that's your prerogative. That's why you have managers to manage things, right? Sometimes managers can see things that the public can't see because they're with the fighter every day. They know their mental makeup better than most people. So it was probably in his best interest. But speaking from the fan standpoint of view, I think I would call it a duck. I would actually call it a duck because Frank Sanchez is a very beatable opponent. Frank Sanchez is a guy that really and truthfully, I think Moses should stop at this stage of Frank's career. Yeah, now sure, of course, Frank Sanchez is a slick Cuban boxer, but look, his volume isn't high. He's not a creme de la creme elite puncher. He's got respectable power like any heavyweight does, but he's not like, he's not Deontay Wilder. He's not that, he's not Zhang. He's not punching on that level. Moses would have a speed advantage, a power advantage. So it really comes down to the fact, do you think Moses has the boxing IQ to land those shots? And the fact that they turned this down, in my opinion, and it's funny, man. This is why I feel like the IBF is the best title in boxing because, I know it's heavyweight, so weight isn't a factor, but the IBF, if you want to know what a fighter's management team and promotional team thinks about them, have the IBF order a fight. And you're going to find out, okay, do they really believe? Is the fighter really professional? And you'll learn anything you need to know because the IBF has a way of exposing fighters like no other sanctioning body. It's crazy to me. But I'm a little disappointed, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I feel like for someone of Moses' talent level, even at such a young age, I feel like the Frank Sanchez fight's a very winnable fight. So maybe they have better opportunity, but I have reason to believe based on what Moses has said himself in previous interviews because they said they wanted to fight Jermaine Franklin, that's who they're going to target. So look, they got the roadmap, it's cool. Just I don't want to hear nobody talk about him fighting, Hrgovic or Parker and saying what he would do to these guys because like I told you guys, they're not trying to put him in there with those type of fighters right now. They're trying to really develop him. So what are they doing? They're moving Moses like the prospect that he is, which I have no problem with. I actually like that for him. But a lot of boxing fans tell me that Moses would do this and do that to fighter X and fighter Z, and I'm telling, and it's been proven right here. Forget Hrgovic and forget Parker. Those guys are on a higher level than Frank Sanchez. You won't even fight Frank Sanchez, so. That's neither here nor there, but that's the news, guys. So make of that what you will. What do you guys think about Moses Itauma turning down the opportunity to become the IBF mandatory and fight Frank Sanchez in an IBF eliminator fight? If he beats Frank Sanchez, right, he then becomes the IBF mandatory challenger, and he can fight for the heavyweight title within about 8 to 9 months after becoming the mandatory. So I do view it as a missed opportunity, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how they move. But you guys leave your comments down below. And yeah, see you next time. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe. You won't be disappointed.